Hi, this is Melanie for Pardesi Reviews. I'm here to do a review of the Tamil film Peranbu starring Mammootty. This film had its premiere at the Rotterdam International Film Festival in 2018. It also played at the Shanghai International Film Festival. It's definitely, let me just put it this way, it's definitely a film festival kind of film because it's offbeat. And after seeing it, I had to just I saw it yesterday and I just kind of had to let the film marinate in my mind and just think about it for a while before I did this review. It's such a different offbeat film that I'm frankly amazed that so many of you have been requesting me to do this review. And I'm wondering how popular it's been because it's so different and offbeat and not a mainstream kind of film. I have to hand it to Mammootty because this is a fantastic part. He does such a subtle, understated, magnificent performance as Amadavan, the father of a severely handicapped daughter. And oh my gosh, the performance of Sadhana, the child actress playing Papa. Now, I don't know what there sort of seems to be a turn of phrase with her name. So if you can explain that in the comments, I would love it. It seemed like it was sort of a double meaning to her name. Okay, so we have chapters to the film, and each chapter, this film is directed by Ram, who is, an award-winning filmmaker. So each chapter is titled Nature Something. So it's unbridled nature, or compassionate nature, or miraculous nature. So each chapter has a name, and it's as if this man is telling us his story like it's his diary. I'm not going to give the whole plot, but just the setup of it is that he has been a driver in Dubai and away from his family, leaving his wife to raise their daughter, who is severely handicapped with cerebral palsy. And in the film, they call it spastic. So she is quite contorted. She has that signature thing of the disease where your muscles contract uncontrollably, so her hands are always twisted, her mouth is twisted, she has difficulty speaking, difficulty walking. I don't know if it's partial paralysis, or it's a severe handicap. And the problem is he doesn't really have a relationship with her. And at the beginning of the film, he reads to us the note that his wife has left. She's left him and left her daughter and eloped with another man. He's stuck with his daughter, who's dealing with the trauma of abandonment by her mother and having to build a relationship with her. And the family that she'd been living with is completely unsupportive. They get kicked out of their neighborhood, their colony, because they say she screams. We don't want her around here. So he takes her to a very remote place, this sort of cabin on a lake. And I have to talk about this setting because at the beginning of each chapter, it's like you see the mist on the lake, and the cinematography is actually incredible. Tenny Eswar did the cinematography, and it's almost like a dream state. Like you're just seeing this mist gradually dissipate from the lake, burn off to the sunshine. The first half is mostly set in this idyllic setting in nature, where he tries all different kinds of ways to build up a relationship with his daughter. The film goes places I was completely not expecting. I did not know that this was going to be a film that dealt with the sexuality, the blooming sexuality of a young teenage girl who's severely handicapped. I mean, first of all, it would be unusual to have an Indian film that deals in an honest way with a young woman's sexual desire and her getting her period and her body changing. Number one, that would be unusual enough. But to have a film that deals with these issues in a severely handicapped teen, I was not expecting the film to be about that at all. There's so many scenes that are going to stay with me. We saw in the trailer there's a scene where Mammootty is trying to feel like what it's like to be his daughter and contorts his body in front of a mirror to try to feel what she's feeling. The name of the movie, Peranbu, means compassion. It's also been titled in English Resurrection. So he has a lot to atone for of living apart from her, not having a relationship. But I'll be honest with you, I narrated the film to my husband today. Today is Valentine's Day. We went out for lunch. And I narrated the film to him. If you could have seen the look on his face, I mean, so many scenes are so beautifully filmed, but when you lay out what the script, where the script goes, I mean, my husband was like, "What?" And then what happened? It's kind of crazy too that this film got made. Like, I'm so admiring of this director to write a story like this and to get this film made. Definitely a film festival kind of film, which is making me amazed that it seems to be a success, that it's reaching people. I know things are different for handicapped people in India than they would be here, but different characters in the film talk to Mammootty's character, the father, and confront him for what they're not doing for the daughter. I don't know what services are available, but there's one point when he has to take her to the hospital for a minor complaint. And the doctor looks at him, well, what school is she in? What institution are you taking to her for therapy? And the father's like, well, she's not getting any. And it's just, he ends up locking her in a room. There's so many scenes of the young girl, Papa, looking out through barred windows, gazing at the world outside of this small apartment where she is. Through things that happen, they end up back in Chennai, in the city, and for him to go out and work, he feels like he has to lock her for her safety in this small apartment, and she's constantly looking at life through a window, looking at other kids go to school, look at other people having a love relationship. All of these things, she's just looking through a window and not experiencing herself. I do fault the father for just accepting, okay, she's handicapped, there's nothing we can do. Instead, I mean, I mentioned in the trailer reaction, I have a niece who has mild cerebral palsy. Nothing like the character in this film. She was a premature baby. She has mild cerebral palsy. But I happen to know all of the different things that my brother and my sister-in-law have done. All the therapies, the occupational therapy, the braces that my niece has had to wear since she was an infant on her feet to stretch the muscles. They even took her for tap lessons because it's one of her legs that's most affected, and that exercise of moving your ankle as you do in tap dancing was beneficial. I just know all the things that they have done for her to make her life as normal as possible so that she can walk normally and not with a limp. And I was just looking at how this family did nothing for this poor girl, for Papa. She had no therapy. She had no counseling. I fault Mammootty's character. It's beautiful that he's trying to make this bond with her, but and I also understand he's a driver. He doesn't have income. He tries to do his best. And he reaches a point in the second half of the film of desperation. And that was a really hard scene to watch. So you've heard there's a woman, actress named Anjali, who he encounters in the first half of the film. So he does have some of his own relationship aside from this father-daughter. But yeah, I can see it's difficult. He's dealing with a daughter who is getting her period and starting menstruation, and he's having to deal with all of these things. She's not a 3-year-old child. She's not an infant that he's changing a diaper. he's having to deal with things that he never imagined, I don't think, in his head that he was going to have to deal with. And when they move to the city and he leaves her with the TV on, she's watching movies all the time. She's watching romances, and he can see how she's responding to that. Surya is like the one that she's obsessed with. And I saw that there was sort of a success celebration for the film for Mammootty and the director and producers, and Surya was there, which I thought was like, okay. I'm glad he lended his support. There's scenes, though, individual scenes that are going to stay with me. Like when Mammootty has to talk to a father of another young man who is not quite as severely impacted with his handicap as Papa is, but he's in an institution where he knows his son is being beaten, and yet he tells Mammootty, well, this would be the alternative if he was home. This is all the things that were happening when he was home, of people in the neighborhood stoning him, and just, so there's certain individual scenes that are so impactful. And Mammootty's performance is so fine, it's so subtle. I will just remember him just being overcome with emotion and not raging, not being melodramatic, but just having a quivering lip and tears. And yeah, I was so affected. But yet, I have sympathy for him, but then I'm also just angry at him for not doing more for his daughter. There's a character played by another Anjali, who is Mira, a transsexual prostitute. He is an outsider because of living with his daughter and kind of an outcast in society, and so he has sympathy to another person who shows him he shows her kindness, she shows him kindness as well. And there's compassion there. I will just say it's not a perfect film. It has some very special moments, some amazing cinematography, some amazing performances. But the ending left me, there's a jump between a moment of desperation, and then all of a sudden we jump to much later in time, because we can see Mammootty no longer has a beard, he just has his signature mustache, and like suddenly everything is tied with a bow and everything is all happy. And it was quite a leap, and I guess I mean, the film was already long. We had so much meditative, quiet, melancholy, a long journey already to that point. But I felt like maybe he felt like he had to tack on a happy ending on the end. I don't know. It just was quite a leap for me. I would have wanted to see more dots connected between that moment of desperation and the final scene when then the credits are going. So it was kind of a leap for me. But amazing that Mammootty, all the things that his character goes through, all the things that his character does, amazing that Mammootty did this part, lent his stardom to a script like this, and in fact encouraged the director to hire the transgendered person who played Mira, the prostitute, in the second half of the film. All of that is amazing. This is a film, like I said, I just kind of had to think about it for a while. So I can't give it like a stars, or there's so many things that are great about it. There's so many things that are making me think about it. I'm going to remember this performance by Mammootty for a long time, and this child actress, what she had to go through. Oh my gosh, wow. Amazing. I hope she goes far as well. Amazing performance. There's another scene where someone has wronged him, and Mammootty's character in the first half won't even take an explanation and just says, if you with a normal child can do this to me, then knowing what I'm going through, then whatever your issues are must be more severe than I can possibly imagine. So there were certain lines too that linger with me. So I have some quibbles, there's some flaws to it, but overall it's quite a powerful film. And like I said, I'm amazed that it's really connecting with so many people, that so many people have urged me to see it and do this review of the film. It played for a short run here in Chicago. If it's not playing where you are anymore, it's worth it. When it'll come on streaming, it'll be worth it to check out this film. So let me know what you thought about Peranbu in the comments below. Love to hear your thoughts. Or were there other things, subtle things that you caught in the film? I didn't want to give too much away. I had so many things that when I was telling my husband all about it, just so yeah, so much plot that I want you to experience it and be surprised if you have a chance to see it yourself. But love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter at PardesiYT. Please do subscribe here to the Pardesi Reviews channel. If you hit the bell when you subscribe, then you'll get a notification whenever I have a new trailer reaction or film review. Do remember, all of my reviews are also on the Pardesi podcast if it's easier for you to listen to them instead of watch.